Hi, everyone. I'm Shaheen from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here with Nathalie Perchard, Senior Marketing Manager for EMEA, or Impinj. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, so first, could you just tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in the marketing field and how you got to Impinj?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Nathalie Perchard, and I've been doing marketing for over 2 decades now. I've always been attracted to marketing. So I did study first in foreign languages, which has always been very important to me. So I'm a really convinced European because I'm French, obviously. I now live in France, but I used to live in England, and then I spent quite a few years in Germany, in Berlin precisely, where I did part of my studies. In France as well as Germany, I always focused on marketing. It's something I've always been attracted to. So marketing, obviously 25 years ago, we did a different way of marketing, but always been attracted to content marketing, to events and promoting what any company could do. And I've always been also focused on B2B marketing as well as IT-focused companies. So it's really my only background, actually.
How long have you been working at Impinj?
Almost 3 years.
Okay. And for those who don't know, can you explain what the company does?
The Impinj platform uses RAIN RFID, which is a specific technology to connect items and delivering timely data about these everyday things. Again, it can be anything. So connecting those everyday things to business and consumer applications in markets just like retail, and we'll probably talk about this later, industrial manufacturing, healthcare, hospitality. And those applications are very important then of our technology. It's a big part of our technology. It's very challenging today, and RFID and RAIN RFID is one of a very important way of delivering also contactless approach, which is important.
It sounds like it's basically replacing the traditional barcode, right, for identifying things, and it's going a lot more. Yeah.
So the idea behind it is how you can get the data and what you can do with those data, how you can analyze it, how you can better produce, how you can track the products, how you can secure distancing if, again, we are focusing on COVID-19 today. So it's really more about having, for some industries, a more secure process, automated process. For others, it can be having a better producing our supply chain, which turned to be very important in hospitals with COVID, how you can better manage your beds, for example. But it is not as simple as this. You need to understand what are your needs, and then you can build something around it. And we do believe, and we know we have technology, and we have also the community of partners and solution partners that can help us build those solutions.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine for this kind of business, it's really important to simplify the way you communicate about it, and also show real use cases and applications, and content must be a central part of that.
Well, yes, but I would say since I've been working within IT companies, it's always been the challenge of doing marketing and content is how you can explain in simplifying, but not in oversimplifying. So it's how we can explain in words that can be understood by the industry, because, each industry has a specific wording. So how we can explain them, what are the benefits and why it's important, but without making it it's not a piece of cake. It's not that simple. It is not complicated. We have a technology. We are making the effort to bring something that is easy to use, but we are still all evolving. In industries that are demanding in terms of, again, if we want to set up a solution, we need to be aware of which kind of environment. Is it cold, or is it hot? Is there some water in it? Or those kind of things will impact the way you will proceed and the way you will deal with your project. So all those aspects have to be taken into account. So it doesn't mean it's complicated, but you need to take it seriously. So there are steps to cover, and that's what I always found challenging, but on the other side very interesting in doing marketing for IT companies, is how you deliver a simple message that doesn't sound childish. I don't know, here I'm losing some words in English to explain it. As we say in French, it has to be simple, but not simpliste.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the tricky part into it. But, for content, especially in English, as I'm not a native speaker, we have a great team in the US working a lot on content and delivering, working on those messages. Because, again, we don't want to overpromise. We don't want to say things we're not doing. We're not here to make promises we can't deliver. It's that's the key of content marketing today.
So in your role as senior marketing manager for EMEA, what is your day-to-day like?
Well, since Impinj is working with lots of partners, so we have a strong partner community. So it's definitely as a content, you mentioned that you found me or you found interesting the way I was delivering content on LinkedIn. So part of it is making sure that our partners are getting the right message. So it's taking the content coming from the US. Sometimes I do also propose some specific local content. So we write an appropriate content that is done at global level. And in Europe, mainly, I'm working on how I can localize it, how I can share it with partners, how we can potentially work on what we call solution briefs. So we have partners who are based on some of our solution and products. They base their own solution, so bring their expertise into it. So how we can provide those solution and solution briefs to a wider audience. That's mainly what we're doing in content. Obviously, my role is going behind content. Since I'm really the person for EMEA, we have events, or let's say we used to have events. For the time being, somehow it looks different, but making sure we are attending the right events or trade shows, sometimes organizing our own events or partner events or even end user events. It's about a lot of the work, which is definitely related to content, is when I'm talking about localizing is also translating. So having the website in foreign languages, that's all of it. And making sure, obviously, that this content is known by our partners. So we do have a great team in the US working in developing tools for our partners so that they keep updated on what we're doing. And obviously then all the social aspect behind it is important. So making sure that our partners are aware of what we have, sharing our latest customer stories, but also making sure that our partners can work with us on new customer stories. And we learn so much sometimes from new use cases, new industries, new ways of using our solutions. It's really it's always we are in a learning process. So I am, at least, because again, I've been for 3 years with Impinj almost, and it's a technology, it's industry that is still an education phases. Lots of people need to understand what we can do with RFID, or maybe people think what RFID is, and they have probably a wrong or very short image of the potential of RFID. So there are lots of things to do, and so I myself learn a lot when I obviously work internally with other teams, but also when we share with partners, because they also have an RFID expertise, and sometimes they come up with ideas that are with solutions and deployments that I won't have suspected. But again, I'm not in the field every day with customers. So as a marketing person, I'm always learning, which is very interesting. As long as you learn something new, you are still in a mood of transmitting to other people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And how important is Europe? You mentioned that the company is also active in the US and maybe other international markets. How significant is Europe and all of that? And what markets do you operate in general?
Everywhere. We're worldwide. So you have, obviously, headquarters are in Seattle. So that's where we have most of the team. And we cover also APAC, America, South America. So we cover actually all parts of the world. Again, we have a very strong partner community. So we work with them very closely. And anyway.
And how much emphasis do you put on the European market? How important is it in the scheme of things?
European market has always been important to Impinj because there is a great potential, and as you know, and we will probably focus on Europe today, EMEA is in terms of inhabitants and in terms of market potential, not much bigger than the US, but the problem is that you have 40, 45 countries and as many culture, as many languages almost, which makes it always very difficult to enter the market. And especially, I realize also with, since I've been with Impinj, obviously I had I worked for other companies, but some industries are more mature in countries than in other countries. I could take the example of industrial manufacturing for Germany. Like automotive, for example, is very advanced in the RFID business in Germany. So depending on which industry you want to cover, then you need to adapt the way you are talking, the way you will be sharing, obviously, and it's always better to do it in the native language. So all those kind of things make it very important for a company, so here a US-based company, to have people in Europe because they have the knowledge of the market. So and again, the cultural aspect is always important. We're used to say that if you want to be good in France, you need to have at least a sales guy with French, and same thing in Germany. And it's just like, it makes it easier. And it's not only a question of language, it's really a question of culture too. And so it's a big focus for Impinj. But again, Europe is a big potential market, but so, yeah, with so many countries, and some of them are smaller. Imagine Switzerland, they speak 3 languages, or Belgium, they speak 2, for such small countries. So sometimes it makes it hard to drive those countries and this part of the world only from the US. So we have a team in Europe.
So do you create like unique content for the different markets, or is it more adapting in what you have in English into the different languages? And what about the channels? Are they the same in the different markets?
So, I mean, it's both actually. Most of it, when we talk about the platform itself or solutions, then obviously we take what is done in the US and then we localize it and translate it. But when it comes to writing a customer story or writing a solution brief with a partner, then it's country specific or it's partner specific. So it's not a one-way communication. We have both ways. Mm-hmm. But again, company specific descriptive content comes from the US, which definitely makes sense. Mm-hmm. And we adapt when it's about, we have a few use cases. We have launched 2 nice ones, like 2 months ago, one with a Finland partner about a Finnish kitchen builder, and one with Brussels Airport. Unfortunately, today, airport and air transportation are suffering, but still, it's a very nice solution. And we worked with a local partner in Belgium and with Brussels Airport. So this kind of content comes directly from us, and then we work with the content team in the US to write a very nice customer story. And we have another one coming soon, then in Denmark. So we have some coming from Italy, from everywhere, which again makes it sometimes very challenging, but also very interesting and diverse. So you have like countries are different, industries are different, use cases are different, and it's very nice.
And what about when it comes to social media? Is that something that's like centralized, or do you localize that for the market?
Today, it's still quite centralized because we would need to have some posts, for example, in French or German, but it requires lots of time and resources. And today, we are getting really good today, and now we're getting even better at sharing information coming from Europe, and then it's posted on the global Impinj page and account, and we have more and more Europe-specific posts. For example, like 2 days ago, we had a partner in Belgium, and as I said, we have a partner community, and they've been awarded gold partner. So they wrote a blog post on this, and we shared it on the Impinj page on LinkedIn and then Facebook and Twitter. So it's not only when you go on the Impinj page, and again, LinkedIn, Facebook or Twitter, you don't have US-specific content. You have content addressing, customer stories or posts from partners from different parts of the world. So I'm focusing obviously on EMEA, but you can have some from Japanese partner, Chinese partner, and others. So I think it's great. I mean, we're a global company, so it's nice to have not only US focused content.
And is there any example of how you think Impinj is doing things in a unique way in its content marketing, or any project you're particularly proud of?
Being unique, honestly, today, it's very tough to answer. What I like in the way we work is that we have really, we're sharing a lot. And I would say now that also the team in the US is locked down, that we work even more closely together than we used to. So we share a lot. We work a lot like we do today in sharing screens. But then we have, everyone can bring his own ideas or input, feedback, experience. And then there is a lot of sharing through that. So I don't know if it's unique, but at least it's, again, the company, the team, my team is listening to what the field is bringing and turns those feedback and experience into something new, into new content. That makes it also so relevant because, again, if you write only about US specific aspects, then people in Europe won't feel impacted by it. So it's important, and this is taken into account, and I find that we're getting better and better at this, like having a real share of experience. And again, you learn from what other countries, and I could give an example of APAC or America. So you learn from what is done in other countries with other partners and how those solutions or deployments can help bringing the solution forward and helping partners in other countries to also be successful.
So for your, maybe you can tell me about your plans for 2020 and how they might have changed because of the current situation and your goals.
And we may go then into the emotional part of this conversation. I mean, we were like everyone. We were, to be honest, with the first time I heard about this COVID, we were all in Seattle. Mm-hmm. All the company was there. We had our global sales kickoff. And that's the first time I heard about it. And I was like everyone, okay, there's a virus coming. And then things, importantly, did develop very quickly. And I remember during this global sales kickoff, I presented what we plan to do for 2020 in Europe. And all of a sudden, on the 8th of March, on that day, trade shows we were working on were cancelled. Our own events were cancelled. Our partners cancelled everything. And like in France, and it was the same then a little bit before in Italy, then we go into lockdown phases. So first was, how do you first cope with it personally? Right. So, I mean, we're all working. We're talking here about me as a marketing manager, but we are also humans. And you need to understand what's happening. Is it really that bad? So you first have this, let's say, personal reaction on, is it really that dangerous? Are we all jeopardized? And it doesn't last a week or two, but like the first 2 days, it's just a weird feeling on, what's going to happen? And then you need to go on working. But I found also very difficult to do business as usual because I was just like writing at partners and if they were themselves hit by this virus. So you don't know, like, can you really do business as usual? And this phase, roughly for me last like a week. And then at some point I thought, yes, let's go on, let's move on, let's see. And if people can't answer, or if we can't organize, and I got lots of like pushback saying, partners saying, no, and even me, like, no, we can't commit on anything before, physical events, we can't commit before September or October. So it was just like, okay, so we can do business as usual, which means we can still be in contact with our partners and providers, but in a different way. And then came all the plan B somehow that we were lucky at Impinj to be used to, is like, how can we use the apps we usually use? Like here we have Zoom, but you can use WebEx, you can use Teams. So how can we work on a digital way only, but still be delivering content? Because here it's a content-focused media. And yeah, so it does have a psychological impact on you. So we were very good at continuing working, but I still think we need to learn a lot, and I'm still learning on, yes, we have a professional life, but we also have a personal life, and we need to find a balance between the two, which helps having a better life in both parts. Like if you find time for both, then you're better at both. So try not to mix up, which is difficult, again, when you can't go out. And yeah, I'm covering EMEA, so I'm used to travel. And today, if I listen to the news, at least in France, looks like I won't be able to move for months. So which means I will have to go on working like this.
So when you talk about these events and the things that you had planned, what are you doing instead? Like, are you replacing that with like digital interactions?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're providing lots of content in putting together success stories, in doing some webinars, in speeding up some processes where sometimes we had no time for, like delivering some content in local languages. So we are better and quicker at doing that. I am better because I was the one who didn't have so much bandwidth. And yes, in trying to find another way of driving business. But it's obviously digital focused and content focused. So, which is, again, I said it many times today, but having more success stories, working with partners, finding some ideas, and everyone is thinking of how can we do it differently and better. And somehow it's also difficult to be innovative and disruptive, because today most events are digital. So we also need to find a way to do it differently so that our audience doesn't get bored of, again, a digital event or again, a webinar. So if you deliver a webinar, you need to be very, very good at delivering the message without being, again, too boring and a PowerPoint presentation again with people talking for hours. I did attend a few ones, and some of them were just great because the speaker was great and the content was very focused, and some of them were just like, no. Mm-hmm. But again, for marketers and people who are doing some content, it's very challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely like a saturation of online events right now. And I think people are getting tired of them. So it's like, what can you do to be innovative?
Mm-hmm. But which again brings back to what I said. You can't live in a world that is 100% digital or 100%, let's say, physical. So it's a balance. So today, no one can say, oh, it's great to do everything online. No, it's not, because it's about human relations also. You need to talk to people. And at the end of the day, just like e-commerce, you always have the extra mile. You always bring what you bought to someone. So nothing is completely virtual. Nothing is completely digital. So it's great to have those tools, but we do it because we don't have the choice today. But I hope we'll find a balance. And again, it's a good lesson for me as a marketer to see, okay, how we can be not completely this and not completely that, and how you can be innovative. And it's also lots of discussions we have internally, which are, again, very rich, because I don't think no one has experienced what we're living today. Never. So we are writing somehow a new way of doing marketing. So we're part of it. So that's what makes it difficult, but also so interesting.
So I wanted to end by asking you about your recommendations. So first of all, if there's a tool that you can't work without, any tool you can't work without.
So I was thinking a lot about it, to be honest, and because I won't say I'm getting tired of all the digital aspects. It's part of my work, but today I feel like taking a pen, taking a paper. It's not an app. It's not very innovative, but at some point it can be. Like before starting, having a webinar or a meeting with someone or looking at the very latest, meeting tool or innovative, then just take a pen and write down your ideas and as you were. I was used to do that before when I was younger. Like you have an idea and you can cross and you can take the paper and put it in the basket and then take it back. It's rich because at some point then you're focused only on this piece of paper and not multi-screens. I have 2 screens, some people have 3. So you're really focused and it helps. It keeps you away from all those tons of information you get when you are working through a screen. And I think, again, because we are marketers and working on content, it's a good way to stay together with yourself, to focus, and to think. And sometimes you just come back 1 day later, 2 days later, and you just look and you think it's crap or it's great, doesn't matter, or you can make some edits. So
absolutely, I can completely relate to that. I also really value paper as a former journalist. And then I just wanted to ask you about a marketing influencer in Europe who you follow.
So again, I was thinking of, marketing influencer. Yeah, there are lots of people. Mm-hmm. But I thought, for me, the best marketers are the ones who are entrepreneurs. And I was thinking of one in France because I'm French, and I thought, I will also talk about French people. And one is Marc Simoncini, and he was born in Marseille, so it looks like, and it's funny because I live in Marseille, so it's not because he was born in this city, but because he created quite a few companies, or has been involved, or has been supporting quite a few companies. But he's the one who really introduced somehow, e-commerce in France. He's not the only one, but one of the most known one. And he was involved in pushing people in creating their own companies, and that's what I like. So for me, all those people who were at the right time, at the right moment, in creating a company and using a new trend, technological trend or not, are definitely the best marketers. They have a sense of, what is needed and how can I bring with my team, with my ideas, with my tool, this to the market is, for me, the definition of a right marketer. So those ones have definitely lots of attention from me. And I mentioned him because he did a TV show in France 2 or 3 months ago, where he was giving some advice with other French entrepreneurs, and he was also then trying some new startups in giving them some money, some budget. So that's what I like too, is he's been a good entrepreneur, and he's been always pushing and helping students in creating schools or in supporting other potential startups.
Really, I'm super interested to check out his work, and excited to be highlighting. This is one thing we want to do with the content mix, is like highlight people doing cool things in marketing across Europe. So definitely gonna check them out. And also, just lastly, wanted to ask you about any European industry group, association, or event that you would recommend.
I would probably have given another answer if we were living in another situation, but we have this association in France, but it's not only France, but it's very well known in France, and it's called Emmaüs. This association has been created like 60 years ago at least. And today, the reason why I'm talking about this association, it's because it was working, and 2 months lockdown, and this community is really endangered, but really, which means the people I was talking about, all those homeless people, will end up on the street again if they don't have some budget to start again and giving them some budget. So they need help, and I think it was something I just wanted to highlight. If at my level I have this little chance to give them some chance to get some donation, then I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So hopefully, it spreads the word about what's going on there. So, and just to end, if you had any parting advice for other marketers in this time? Final closing thoughts.
Well, let's say again, in this situation we're living today, probably, as I was saying before, finding the good balance between work, private and professional life, taking the time to connect with people. We always said that, I have no time. So now I think we do have the time. We just need to get organized and find a way of connecting with people, even if it's only through a screen. Listen more, because also our job is about listening. We are writing down what people are wanting. We are writing down what engineers are developing. We are putting words together for, according to your job, CEOs, for example. We are, as people are doing content, before they write, they should listen. And listening is probably the things I've been doing most during those last 2 months. Also at personal level, like again with my children, usually I have no time, so I have more time for them, and it's good. Like you're not thinking of yourself all the time when you listen more to others. You're just like, oh, good, I'm not the only one. So you're getting less self-focused, which is also a good way of thinking. Somehow we've been lucky. We are an IT company. We have all the tools. We have been working. So maybe I was complaining or not complaining, saying we had lots of work, but at least we have a work. We have a job. Lots of people have lost or will lose their jobs. So we should think of others that have been in a situation that is much worse than ours.
Absolutely. It's definitely something to be grateful for. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview and for sharing your perspective with us.
I hope that was clear for everyone, and I did find the right words, or at least the words I wanted to express.
Yeah.
And thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again. And thanks everybody for listening in. We're going to be sharing a lot more of these perspectives on the Content Mix podcast, so please keep tuning in. See you next time.